Hello and thanks for joining us on this segment of our show. My guest today is Honorable Farouk Aliyu. Honorable Farouk Aliyu was a one-time minority leader at the House of Representatives. He is a chieftain of the APC and one of the most dogged followers of President Muhammadu Buhari. Actually, he has been with Buhari for decades. Honorable Farouk Aliyu, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, let me start by congratulating you because I saw what you're doing in the agricultural sector in Jigawa State. And I think it's something that's commendable. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And let's look at some of the issues that brought us here today. 2015, I remember talking with you just before the election and after the election. And you were so optimistic about the magic that we're going to see in Nigeria. Looking back, after 6 years of Buhari coming to power, are you still enthusiastic, optimistic, excited like you were just after the elections in 2015?
Well, yes and no. Yes, a lot of things have happened in the positive way, and so many things have happened in the negative way. So, certainly not as excited as 2015, because now we know better. When we were in the opposition, there were so many things that we didn't know, honestly, and that some such certain assumptions that we had when we got in. Now, we found out that, truthfully, some of the things that Jonathan did, he wasn't wrong. We didn't know. When we got in, now we know better. So that's the lack of excitement. But whether things have improved in this country, yes, they have. Whether we've done our best, yes, we have. Whether there are challenges, yes, there are challenges. So far, so good. Nigeria is better today than it was in 2015.
I want us to go to specifics. When you say Nigeria is better, can you tell me the sectors that are better? I can give you some statistics to help you. On May 29, 2015, fuel, a liter of fuel was 107 naira. As you and I speak today, it's more than 160 naira. On May 29, 2015, the naira was exchanging for $1 at 199. Today, the dollar is exchanging. If you have dollar to sell, you sell at 498, 499. If you're buying, you buy at about 503. Is that your summary of things getting better?
Well, yes, because look, listen. Let me first of all start with the fuel that you spoke about. One of the things that I told you that we didn't know. I mean, we were all over the country demonstrating against fuel hike when Jonathan was there. Now, when we got in, we know better that what Jonathan did, well, he wasn't wrong. And because this subsidy has to go, absolutely. But the difference between that time and this time, the subsidy that was given was taken away. A lot of the money was going into other people's pockets. Now, so we know that, look, Jonathan did right by removing the subsidy. Now we are also gradually removing it because that's the reality. That's the expenditure is so huge that the balance sheet of this country cannot carry. And this is a country that supplies fuel to all other neighboring African countries, and we can ill afford that. So that's so as regards to that.
Okay, you're giving a reason for the fuel being at the
Yes,
amount,
absolutely.
but definitely that's not getting better for the ordinary Nigerian.
Well, unfortunately, also
At 107, and has to buy at.
But But you see, the also difference between us and the other governments, we don't lie to people. That other time, the government was lying, was trying to cover up, was not coming out clean with the people that, look, we must do these things because the country can't afford it.
But they said so.
No,
Just that those of you in opposition refused to acknowledge
well,
it.
it was also part of us to refuse to acknowledge, just like what's happening to us now too. You know, so exactly. So, but what I'm saying is, and you could see honestly, also the amount of money, because when the citizens see that their money is being stolen by public officers, I'm not telling you there is no corruption now. You know, I'm not saying that, but the level of corruption back then is much worse than now. So that's the difference.
A lot of Nigerians don't agree with you.
Well, it's subjective. They're entitled to their opinion. You know, people are entitled to their opinion. Now, when you spoke about these indices of naira and dollar and so on, it's true. It's true also. But then, remember also when we came in, this country went into recession. And this recession did not happen just to Nigeria, all over the world. And so it was a global thing. There is no country on earth today that you will go. The economic situation of 2015 of that country is the same as it is today. So it's a global thing. You know, you remember the crisis the United States financial system that went through, which also had impact on us. The world now is a global village, and so on and so forth. So those are the indices that made us what we are today. And also, whatever you will say, we had COVID. This COVID is also a reality.
COVID was in 2019.
Yeah, but these are
the
cumulative.
president had been in power for 4 years before COVID.
Yes, I know, but these are cumulative of so many things that have happened. And part of the assumption that I said we also had, we honestly thought it was bed of roses. But when we came in, we found out that, look, there were certain decisions that the government of that day couldn't take because they didn't have the guts to do it. So now when we are taking those decisions as a government, that's why the reality is happening now. That people are seeing that things are getting expensive and so on because the reality has, sunk in us now. But you cannot say also there is no improvement in like agricultural sector in this country, or even in terms of the security.
Let's talk about agriculture.
Okay.
In 2019, in 2015, a bag of rice sold for 8,000 naira.
Yes.
Today,
Yes.
it's more than 30 something.
Well,
what kind of improvement
yes,
is that?
Part of it was that most of that rice was smuggled into this country. Now Nigerian farmers are growing that rice. So if Nigerians in their wisdom decide to sell it to Nigerians at whatever price, Nigerians are the ones gaining. But back in the year...
No. They can't decide to sell. In 2015, if they were buying insecticides, they were cheaper. So it's not about Nigerian. Tractors, if they were buying tractors, the tractors were cheaper.
Yes, so we still come back to the economy.
So for clarity purposes, the only reason Nigerians voted Muhammadu Buhari was because they were tired of the PDP.
That's true.
And they needed change.
That's true.
So if he didn't know what to do, he didn't have to run.
But I am telling you, if that change didn't happen, probably now a bag of rice would have been 100,000.
That's a probability.
Well,
we are talking about reality.
Yeah, but that's what I'm telling you.
Here is the Buhari government.
Yes.
6 years after, rice was 8,000 when he took over. Now it is more than 30,000.
We still come back to the globalization, the economic situation of the whole world. It's not happening in Nigeria also. If you go to UK now, what you used to buy things in 2015 and what you are buying it today, or in the US, is the same. So this is a global issue. It's not a Nigerian factor.
You know, you've known Buhari for a long time. I mean...
We started together.
Yes, you've known him for a very long time. I remember coming to your office many years back, and you always talked about this Nigerian that was going to change everything if he had an opportunity. So you know him very well. And a lot of Nigerians are saying, is it that Buhari has lost his belief in Nigeria? Is it that Buhari does no longer care about Nigerians? Or is it that Buhari is not the Buhari that we used to know? I don't want to join issues with people that say he's another human being or something.
Of Sudan.
No, I don't agree. What has happened to our president, the man we voted in 2019? Is it that he's not in charge? That's also some of the things Nigerians say. And you're very close. You were with him. Out of power, in power. What has happened to our president?
Yeah, but you see, you're just making a story now. What has happened to our president? What has happened to him? Nothing. He is the same Buhari that we knew before he came into government, and he's the same Buhari that is the president today. Nothing has changed. So, if, as I told you, now that we're in government, I understand what the government in power felt when we're in power. So all these things is politics, and politicians, opposition parties can say anything. But whether it's the same Buhari, I'm confirming to you and to the whole world that he's the same person that Nigerians voted for, and he's the same person that will stay till the next.
Why I asked that question
exactly.
is that.
So I want you to explain.
Yeah, why I asked that question is that the Buhari we voted into power was the same one that said that insurgency could happen if the government didn't have the will, the political will to confront it. Yeah. It was the same Buhari that challenged fuel increment. Well, he made a lot of promises. That's true. So that's why I'm asking, what has happened?
Okay, good. Now, the insurgency. Yes, it is true. Part of the things that we spoke about and promised people to end insurgency. Whether insurgency has, been killed, no. But whether it has been drastically reduced, yes, it has. And let Nigerians don't forget that before we came in, this Abuja that you and I are, had series of bombings. It's so quick to forget.
Which was controlled, which was contained during Jonathan.
Well, not completely.
By the time he was leaving,
no,
there
not
were
completely.
No bombings in Abuja.
No, not well, but since we came in, there is no bombing in Abuja. So let's Nigerians not forget that time when this town was bombed all over the place. In Kano, 2014, January, a day before, I think Emirates was supposed to be flying into Kano, when 8 places were bombed in Kano, when in Gombe, in Jos, in Kaduna, all over the place. These things have stopped. And the potency of Boko Haram that was going probably all over the country was drastically reduced. When we came in, some local governments were under the firm control of Boko Haram. But as of today, we can't talk about that. The people of Northeast, I am sure know, you and I are not there, but from the stories we see, the president was there about 2 weeks ago. We've seen buildings coming up. We've seen IDPs going back to their places. We've seen places liberated and so on. We've seen lives happening in Maiduguri now. At least since we came in, there was no bombing in the market. This was thing that was happening all over the time. Now that has gone. But whether Boko Haram is still there, yes, it's still there. Whether they are still attacking places, yes, they are. But not as much as before. And remember also, before we came in, the level of corruption in the armed forces, when everybody, you and I, all Nigerians, what was called the slush fund that was shared among party faithful, the monies that were supposed to go into the defense, into the armed forces and so on, was taken away. People have been prosecuted now. That has drastically reduced. Now the armed forces are getting much better than they used to. As I speak to you now, over 150 MRAVs are coming into the country. Probably they are there now. Now, as I speak to you. These are vehicles that we probably had 4 or 5. Nigerian Armed Forces, when they go for a meeting with Chad will come with 40. Nigerian Armed Forces will go with 3. That thing has gone away. And you've seen how we've invested in the Tucano aircraft. You've seen how we've invested in so many things. The military have been equipped, and the recruitments are also happening, and so on and so forth. So there is significant improvement in that regard. Whether there are other challenges in security, yes, we do. We have the insurgency and the banditry in the northwestern part of the country, in north central and so on. That is also being contained.
Yes, because you talked about when this government came into power and what has changed. In 2015, people were not killed recklessly in Imo State in 2015.
That's true.
People were not scared to travel the Abuja, Kogi, Enugu Road in 2015. There's a lot of agitation and secessionist, agitations across the country. The Oduduwa people were not, in 2015, they were not asking to leave Nigeria. IPOB in 2015 was not asking to leave Nigeria. A lot of people, there's a lot of tension in the country. So you give us some relief with Boko Haram, and then almost every other part of Nigeria is up in flames in terms of agitation, insecurity, and what have you. Okay. Is that also your idea of things getting better?
Okay. Let's take one at a time.
Okay.
Now, Abuja, Kaduna, Abuja, Kogi, armed robbery, banditry on the road. Yes, it's true. But then, is the government doing something? Yes, it is. There are checkpoints, that don't harass people now. Checkpoints that do not stop people on the road. There are constant, patrol of vehicles. And these bandits have been arrested daily. You could see the Nigerian police parading them. But Nigeria is a country of 200 million people. And are policed. Less than 200,000 members of the police are policing 200 million people. So that is also being taken care of. They have been arrested, they have been prosecuted, some of them have been engaged in the language they understand, and so on and so forth. Now, when we move to this, like when you said Imo State and so on, yes, it's true, but those things are political.
How do you mean political?
Exactly. You see,
because I'd like to be educated.
Yes, let me educate you. Why I'm saying it's political. Now, the secessionist movement in the southeast and southwest is political, simple. And my brother in the southeast, you see, Igbo presidency is doable, it's possible, it can happen, it should happen, but certainly not through brigandage, not through intimidation, not through blackmail, not through banning of police stations and so on. So to me, some of these agitations are in trying to probably coerce everybody to accept the fact that there must be Igbo presidency. As I said, probably my party is going to, nominate an Igbo man as a candidate. But then that's not the way to go. So, thank God the Ohanese in the Igbo. I'm so impressed with the way they are carrying this thing now. But back in the days, you find the elites from the southeastern part of the country say nothing.
No.
Well, okay.
No, excuse me.
Okay.
It's like the Northeast is judged by Boko Haram.
Yes.
They're not judged by Boko Haram. Nigeria has not judged the Northeast by Boko Haram. They even went a step further to create a commission to help address the issues there.
That's true.
So the elites in Southeast are not in support of brigandage.
I agree now.
Or whatever. And that cannot, for a lot of Southeasterners, they're saying that cannot be a yardstick to know whether they are ready to take the presidency or not.
What do you mean?
That because there's brigandage or because a group?
No, but if listen.
Yes.
If certain part of that, because before IPOB, remember there was Masob.
President at the height of Boko Haram.
I said, but listen.
Why didn't we give it to the Southwest?
What
Buhari became president at the peak of Boko Haram.
Yes.
Did we say because he's a northerner and Boko Haram is coming from the north, he shouldn't be president?
No. What I'm saying is, you see the difference is now, if I said there was Masob before IPOB.
Yes.
And they have all along wanted to leave Nigeria. And if the people from southeastern part of this country don't see danger in that, don't see that, look, if you don't seem to believe in Nigeria, why would you want to be president of Nigeria? If all in unison don't come and condemn Masob and IPOB, why would you want to be president?
But listen.
Listen.
Boko Haram was fighting the country.
Yes.
They were trying to, they declared a republic.
Yes.
And a northerner,
but you see, the difference
still became president.
But listen, the difference between Boko Haram and IPOB.
Yes.
At Boko Haram, the members don't live amongst us. The members are in Sambisa. They are not in the open. IPOB and Masob are there, known. Leader of Masob is there. He comes out every day and speaks. Yeah, what I'm saying, he's known, he's there, and he believes. But listen,
he has not broken any law.
Yeah, but no.
Yes.
But he agitates of self-independence of Biafra.
Not violent.
Well, exactly.
Not violent.
I know. But then, so you can't eat your cake and have it. If you don't believe in Nigeria, then you have no right to want to lead Nigeria. But that's what I'm saying. But look, what I'm saying is that, look, the southeastern part of this country, the Igbos, ought to be president of Nigeria. An Igbo man, I believe in Igbo presidency. But as I said, now the elites will have to go further, just like what the Ohanese in the Igbo did.
Good.
To prove to us that you believe in this country. You believe in one Nigeria, just like what has happened. Now, with their statement, now we believe so. Now we believe Nnamdi Kanu does not speak, for the Igbos. We believe now. Now,
at the point you thought he did?
Yes, I wish we did. Because at one time, let me tell you, the leader of the opposition in the National Assembly went and took him on bail. And he ran away. He even had the audacity to come and say all sorts of things. Nothing has happened to him. And Senator Alin Dume, who took Minor on bail. Minor escaped. He was put in prison. But the leader of opposition in the National Assembly, my brother, the minority leader, took him on bail. And look, someday, one day, we will declassify how Nnamdi Kanu was given out on bail in the first place. All for the unity of this country. And what did he do? He came out, leaders of the southeastern part of this country, governors, senators, were seen parading with him on television.
They were not.
Yes, they were.
Well,
they were. They visited him.
I remember that they had meetings
they visited
with him.
Met with him.
The press releases they gave showed that they were trying to get him to understand the best way to go about.
Where were the Igbo leaders when he was released? I know what happened, how he was given bail. But then what happened? All of them, in fact, he intimidated them. My brother Ekwere Madu was all over him. He was there. He was deputy senate president that time, remember? So if the leaders of that part of the country were identifying with Nnamdi Kanu, and then you still want to come and be president of Nigeria, how can that happen? But thank God, as I said, now our brothers understand the look. And you know what? The Igbos in this country are the greatest beneficiaries for Nigeria. Why I said so? When the war happened, look at how they were decimated like to ground zero. And as of today, you cannot ignore the contribution of the Igbos in developing this country. Everywhere in Nigeria, they have helped to make Nigeria what it is today. Also outside the country, the intellectuals of Igbos have done great, for Nigeria, all over the world. So, which means they are still the greatest beneficiary of one Nigeria. But if the elites, in their wisdom, some of them, identify with Nnamdi Kanu, yes, we'll speak to them in the language they understand. And that's exactly what is happening.
I hope they don't take off your tweet. Anyway, don't you think you're being unfair when you say what you say? And I'll tell you why. During the South-South agitation, the Tompolos still met with governors of the South-South, still chatted with them, moved around with them. As we speak, one of your ministers had to fly to Port Harcourt to go and confer with a former warlord, a city minister.
Yeah.
And then you are not judging them,
yes,
but you are judging Igbo elites. And I did ask that Boko Haram at its height, a northern group, in quotes, at its height, Nigerians still voted for a Buhari. And because a group of young Igbo men have constituted themselves into a group and they do one or two things, then on that score, you don't think that Igbo should lay claim on the presidency?
No,
Are you being fair?
No, wait,
Are you being fair?
Wait. It's not. You're not being fair also to me. I told you Igbo presidency is doable. It's possible. Probably my party will even anoint an Igbo man. That's one. Then two, the South agitators never speak about dividing Nigeria. Never, ever. I can't remember Tom Polo or anybody from there. They are talking about resource control. That's their main aim. Talking about resource control. They feel this country is treating them unfairly because of the natural resources that is found there. So there's this agitation for resource control. You know, and then when you talk about the Boko Haram, I told you the Boko Haram are not, I mean,
they also called for their own independent nation.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
no, but aren't we fighting them? Isn't this government fighting them?
The government is also fighting IPOB.
Yes, because no. There's difference now. The difference is that members of IPOB are clearly living amongst us, and no government will sit by and watch police stations being raised, prisons being opened.
Farouk,
members of Boko Haram are on the run all the time.
Honorable Farouk, there's so much for us to talk about, and you know, getting you to sit down is usually a problem. Let's talk about this tension and secessionist things we are hearing in the southeast, in the southwest, and a number of other places. Do you think that the selective appointments of Mr. President, which has continued in the armed forces, continued in federal boards, continued in NNPC, continued in a lot of places, in total disrespect for federal character, don't you think that behavior like that could be fueling the tension in the country? While some people think that they're not getting a fair deal in Nigeria, they want to go elsewhere.
You know when elites, fight, they can say anything. Because this is elitist fight. And it is so convenient for you sitting here as an Igbo man to talk to me.
I'm sitting here as a journalist.
No way, but listen. Yeah, but look at your red cap. Listen, you see, so convenient, like, anyway, what I'm saying, you see, it's so convenient for you to talk like this. You have forgotten, and I'm not saying it's correct, when Jonathan was around as president, when he probably gave that part of the country everything. And nobody said.
Everything like what?
Everything?
Yes.
Like you spoke about the armed forces.
Yes.
And so on.
So how many Igbo people had positions
but
in the armed forces?
you see, honestly, unfortunately, and sadly so, I hate to talk about North, South, Igbo. Honestly, God knows, I'm a true Nigerian. You never ever see me. This is part of my dress code. And I make bold to say, because I believe in this country.
I'm also a proud Nigerian.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you and I are friends.
Yes.
You know, you and I. So you see, you and I are the problem of this country. Elites, listen. You and I are friends to family level. You and I. So why can't you and I trickle down our relationship down? Now, when you and I lose out, we start talking about Igbo, Muslim, Christian, and so on and so forth. But when it's convenient for us, we keep quiet. When it comes to share money, you and I will probably share money. The masses, we haven't, but probably we'll get to do that. So honestly, when it comes to that, at the level of elites, we are one and the same. So whether appointments are lopsided.
Are they lopsided, Honorable Farouk?
No.
Are appointments lopsided? You're Nigerian.
Yeah, but listen,
I know you as one man.
But you don't. But listen, you don't.
I know you as one man.
You don't have to patronize me. You don't. Have to,
no.
No, you don't.
Appointments by this government lopsided?
It's subjective also. What I'm saying is subjective. Honestly, it's subjective because look, that's why I said unfortunately we still don't see us as one people. If a president is voted and he decides in his wisdom to make certain appointments that he feels they are all right, they are also within the federal character. Now, let that be a campaign issue. That look, when in 2023, like for example, anything that we are doing that is seen to have been wrong, let the opposition party come out with facts and figures and campaign about them, just like the restructuring we're talking about. Let it be a campaign issue. Let us not look at it from President Buhari has appointed Northerners, or Jonathan has appointed Southerners, or Obasanjo has appointed Westerners. No, let it be a campaign issue. And the earlier we understand, that, look, anybody who will be there and can do the work, wherever he comes from, let him do the work. But when we start talking about where we come from, I'm telling you that's elitist. But whether perception matters, yes, I agree with you. Perception, unfortunately, yes, I said it's unfortunately because we don't see us as one people. I remember, I read somebody said that Nnamdi Kanu is being tried by Northerners. Sadly, exactly. Sadly, I saw that the IG of police is from the north, Inspector General is from the north, DGSS is from the north. That perception, that is real, and that should be looked into. That should, the government should dissuade the mind of the people that, look, it has got nothing to do from where you come from. Just like I was speaking with you before we went into this interview. Fulani herdsmen that are criminals. They are criminals. And we should see them as criminals. Don't see them as Fulanis, just I'm a Fulani man to call me criminal because they are my brothers by tribe or by religion. An ESN is the criminal. ESN is a criminal. Let's see the person as a criminal, not as you, my friend, that I know you're not a criminal. Or let's Sunday Obo, who is a criminal, should be seen as a criminal. Not anybody from Afenifere should be judged. So if we, as a people of this country, see ourselves as, look, one people, where a criminal is a criminal. A Fulani herdsman carrying a gun, wielding a gun, raping, maiming, is a criminal. He should be dealt with. The government should have no mercy, and the government has no mercy on any Fulani herdsman, or any ESN, or any Afenifere brigand that carries guns around. So let us see ourselves as one people. If we have that confidence that let's give the government a chance, any government, not just because government comes, Buhari will leave, government comes, government goes. Nigeria remains. That's the problem.
At all this happening in our country, if you have an opportunity of sitting with Mr. President and you go to interviews, you talk to journalists, you talk to ordinary people. I know he has one man who has friends across Yorubas, Igbos, and what have you. What would you tell him to bring down the tension in the country?
Well, what I will tell him is, first of all, he should speak more, the way he did recently. Probably the president should engage in speaking to the people every month. And in case something happens monumental, he should come on, more often. Because the people need to hear from him directly, not from Femi Adesina or Garba or people like us. The people need to hear from the person they voted for. So if I need to give him advice, that's what I will tell him. And I will do that. I promise you. I promise the whole world that I will do that. I will tell him this. I will keep telling him. But there are also styles. That's his style. And, he's not as talkative as people like us. And sometimes we around him don't allow him to talk because he does not speak like a politician. There are certain things that a politician will not say because the president will always speak the truth. He will always say his mind. But sometimes certain truth better be kept as a politician. But he is a straightforward person. If you ask him, he will tell you things without garnishing. And we, the politicians around him, used to say, look, Oga, please don't go and talk. Because if you speak, you will speak the truth. And sometimes you need to garnish that truth for peace.
Could this also mean that there's some truth in what some Nigerians believe?
That what?
People around the president are part of his problem.
How? What I'm saying, how are they part of the problem? But he has spoken. And when he spoke, the way he spoke, did he sound like somebody was telling him what to do or not to do? But every person has advisors. There are unofficial advisors like us who let me even tell you, Mr. President, I swear, was ready with his speech and everything to go to National Assembly. I was one of the people who stopped Mr. President from going to National Assembly because Mr. President was going to tell the truth, was going to say things. And me, coming from opposition, no, I know very well if he goes there, there are some members of the opposition that will provoke Mr. President to say more truth that could mean harm. Because he will say certain things that could probably be misunderstood. Just like in his interview, when he spoke and said, we'll speak to them in the language they understand. Did he say he's going to speak to them, he's going to be violent? Or what does that mean? People gave it different interpretation, which politicians don't speak like that. But he spoke the truth. And that's what people don't want here. So I want you to understand those kind of things. So there are also people like us who also have a duty, because this government does not belong to President Buhari. It is our government, you and I. It is not his personal estate. This country belongs to all of us. He is no more Nigerian than you and I. So there are certain responsibilities we also have, we the unofficial advisors, what we think. I'm not telling you sometimes what we do might be all right, but as human beings, we try, God knows, we try as much as possible to tell him the truth and advice, but in the long run, he takes decisions. Whatever happens in this country, good or bad, the president takes responsibility and he's responsible for that.
Let me ask you, you stay around I don't want to say you stay around the president, but you've been with the president for a very long time. Do you think that the president genuinely loves this country?
He does. This is somebody who went into armed forces, who fought the civil war to keep this country together. Somebody whom you cannot, all for the love of this country, cannot find him sitting to connive to dupe the people of this country. You cannot sit with President Buhari to negotiate contracts. You can't sit with him to negotiate kickbacks. You can't sit with him to negotiate the sanctity, the unity of this country, or the progress of this country. He means well. And I believe God is with this man. Because there are so many things that could happen. Ordinarily, you will see as if the heavens will fall. But God will intervene and tensions will go down. Because God knows his heart. And we that are with him, we know he does not mean harm. He could make mistakes as a human being. He could have some issues as a human being. So let him be judged as a human being. That as a human being, he's not infallible. So there are certain things that also, in politics, some things are too subjective that members of the opposition can't say anything. We said all sorts of, and I'm telling you, I'm confessing to you, there are so many things that we did against Jonathan. I am one of the people who called for his arrest and everything. But as I said, certain decisions that Jonathan took, and even if it were Buhari, he wouldn't have done differently. So, and I, being in opposition and in government now, I'm advising politicians that whatever we do, we should tread carefully because some of these things you say might come to haunt you. Like the fuel thing which we demonstrated around this country with the Jonathan must go, no fuel subsidy, must, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Now we know better. That look, we did it out of ignorance. And sometimes out of mischief also as opposition.
A lot of Nigerians are worried when they see the insurgency, the agitations for secession and what have you. And they are really worried about a one Nigeria, being there after all these problems. Are you optimistic that this will blow over and that we'll still have one Nigeria as we approach 2023.
Oh yes, oh yes. We politicians are the ones overeating the polity. I'm telling you. And look, we still, the masses down, still love themselves. Honestly, I went to a village somewhere in, is it Abia? The population of northerners I saw. In fact, I did not see any even one there. I'm telling you, living nicely with one another. And I was in Imo State. On my way from the airport to the town, I saw cows grazing. While in the north here, we are made to understand that any cow seen on the street of the southeastern part of the country is burnt, which is not true. We've seen videos, you and I seen video of a vehicle with cows being burnt and so on. That vehicle belonged to an Igbo man. The cows belonged to an Igbo man. But us in this part of the country in the north didn't know. So the elites help in fueling these things. But the masses also are still doing business among themselves. So politicians will talk, will rant, will scream. Nigeria will remain one. And as we approach 2023, of course the polity will be overheated, scream on call of, all sorts of calls. But still, in the long run, it will still remain one Nigeria. Let me also say kudos to the northern, Hakim Baba Ahmed. I saw his statement recently.
Northern elders.
Yes, northern elders. Where he said that, look, the Igbos that live in the northern part of the country must be protected, should be protected, because they live harmoniously with people here doing well. And that those little hiccups here and there in the southeastern part of the country are not perpetrated by the real elites. So we call on the elites, I'm quoting him now, the elites to work together and ensure. But if the people in the north who are there feel threatened, they can still come back. But that does not mean that any Igbo man should be dealt with here. And look, in trying to show you that this country is still one, there has not been one reprisal attack in the northern part of the country because of what's happening there, because at least the people know that, look, it is not the general view of the Igbo people that what's happening. 1 or 2, 3 Fulanis are killed, herders are killed, that's normal because some of them also stray into other people's property, or they kill, or they are caught doing something wrong. But instead of them to be taken to law enforcement agencies, they are dealt with in a brigandage and way that shouldn't help matters. But generally, this country will remain one, and I pray so, and I hope so, because look, we are better together than divided. And look, we are better. Look, but I want us to also appreciate that, look, we are what we are by birth. I'm a Fulani man, I didn't choose to be one. You're an Igbo man, you didn't choose to be one. So why don't we attempt to live in harmony and capitalize on our differences to make us a better people?
Let's conclude this conversation this way. 2023 is almost here with us. What will the APC campaign with? What will they tell Nigerians? Why they should be returned to power?
Yeah. First of all, we should be voted for the amount of infrastructural development that we're giving in the country now, all over the place. In the southeastern part of the country, the second Niger Bridge, which we will keep hammering, we'll keep talking about it. It's happening. It is true. These things are happening. Also, transparency. That if nothing now, contracts are being put to tender, and that you also have the right to complain if you are shortchanged. Recently, in one of the ministries, I know somebody who was pre-qualified, but he was removed illegally. The Bureau for Public Procurement canceled that process and made sure the person, these kind of things that we are putting in place, to ensure that, look, Nigeria becomes what it is like in other climes. So we're putting a system that any government that comes, that hopefully, that even if it's not APC, that comes, will inherit a system of probity, will inherit a system that things ought to be done in that way. And I am telling you, if politics is played the way we are playing it, in no time there would be no opposition in this country. At least there will be a ranting of the, minority, which is okay. Just yesterday, we received another governor into our fold. We received Umahi into our fold, which to me is the sweetest, because I want as much as possible my brothers from southeast part of the country to join the fold, and as a matter of right, also demand to be part of the mainstream. So we also received Ayade, and we're also going to probably receive your governor, who is my friend, and I'm one of the people working on him. I will make sure Buruburu, yes, my friend. I will continue leading the team and ensure he comes in. So in general, we are stronger as a party today than we were in 2015. So that will also propel us into continue to be in power come 2023.
Honorable Aliyu Farouk, always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, my brother.
I've been speaking with Honorable Farouk Aliyu, former Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, APC Chieftain, and lately a big Nigerian farmer.
And also, I hosted on my farm the tallest national flag on 50.3 meters. The tallest in this country, the second tallest flag in Africa. Yes, it is.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Let's do this again. Bye for now.